Welcome to Cosmic Diaries. This is Priya Kala, your astrologer. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And we're looking at the astrology for the week beginning March 17th all the way through March 24th. And March 25th, we have a powerful lunar eclipse in Libra. So I'll touch on that a little bit, but first let's get into this week because the scenery is changing. We're heading to the Equinox on the 19th of March, so just in a couple of days. This marks the beginning of the astrological new year, and everything that's been brewing and under the surface for the past few weeks, months, through February and March is now, starting to bubble and boil and come to the surface. Life is about to pick up pace, and as we approach eclipse season, there are fated developments taking place. So it's important that we're practicing self-awareness above all so we can navigate this territory with as much consciousness as possible. And of course, apologies for the slightly late forecast, but my computer was in the shop and I just got it back and it's pretty much shiny and new like a virgin. I had to replace the battery and the top case and the display, so it's all new, brand new. But we're back in business, so thanks for being patient. But here, let's dive into the week now. I'm recording this on the 17th of March, and I hope to have the podcast up today itself. So earlier today, the sun was conjunct Neptune this morning at 6:22 a.m. here in New York, and the moon is currently in Cancer, moving to a trine with Venus on the 17th. So the energy is dreamy and we're exploring our emotions. We're processing deep emotions because now we're past the first quarter phase of the moon, which took place on Saturday, the 16th of March. And this is the halfway point between, the first quarter phase was the halfway point between the new moon on the 10th of March and the upcoming full moon on the 25th of March. And that was a chance to really, make course corrections, make important choices, or rather at least be really honest with ourselves and to check in with ourselves. Because now with the moon moving through Cancer today, and now that we're past the Sun-Neptune conjunction, we're clarifying a dream. We are in this Pisces new moon cycle, and if there's been a sense of a haze or a fog or not being sure of which way to go, now the clarity is returning and the fog is lifting as the day progresses and the moon trines Venus this evening. The energy is sweet and creative and dreamy and loving and romantic, and there's a lot of depth here. Nourish yourself, nourish your heart, fill your own cup. Then we can share the love we feel and our energy and pour our heart into what matters to us. On the 18th of March, there are no major aspects taking place, but the moon continues to move through Cancer, and as it does, it will overnight trine Saturn, sextile Jupiter in the morning, square Mercury, then sextiles Uranus in the evening. So there's a lot of emotions that are churning within us, and we're coming to deep insights and deep realizations. The emotional tide is rising as we move to the eclipse. Go with the flow as best as you can. Pay attention to what's surfacing within you, around you. Release any emotional baggage consciously. There's a sense of fullness that's growing within us. We're welling up with powerful, deep emotions, and it's a chance to really reflect on how we're feeling and let go of the heavier emotions as we navigate forward, because we're coming to a deeper understanding of how we feel, what we want, what we need, and there's a need to also let go of expectations as we enter new territory, because the scenery is shifting now and we're stepping into new territory. So it's important to move with sensitivity and patience for yourself and others as well as you move through these days. This is also the sun's last day in Pisces, the 18th. We're in the deep end. This is the last degree of the zodiac. So we're likely feeling overwhelming emotions, and we're seeing our past, present, future clearly, and the deeper you can dive within yourself, the rarer the treasures that you're likely to find. because on the 19th of March, the moon trines the sun, and then the moon will enter Leo at 2:33 in the afternoon, oppose Pluto at 5:50 p.m., and the sun enters Aries at 10:06 p.m. on the 19th. On the 18th, it's like there's a lot that's swirling and shifting within us, and then as the sun and moon change signs, the energy changes from soft and dreamy and emotional and deep and magical and mystical and musical to fiery and passionate and bold and dramatic and creative. Now we're entering a whole new astrological year. In astrology, the equinox chart, the Aries equinox, when the sun enters Aries at first 0 degrees of Aries, it's a very powerful moment, and we cast that moment as a chart that tells us what's in store for the whole year. 0 degrees Aries is a very sensitive degree of the zodiac. The key phrase for this degree is the personal is political, where the story of one person speaks for the story of a larger collective. So pay attention to what's happening in the news, in your life. There's a need for fearlessness and courage as we take this step into the future. The sun is exalted in Aries, so over the next 4 weeks, the energy is picking up pace. Pisces was a water sign. For the past 4 weeks, we've been swimming in the depths of our emotions and in our souls. And Pisces is a sign of the great void, the great illusion, the great nothing out of everything, out of which everything is born. And now with the sun entering Aries, it's like the unmanifest is becoming manifest. Something that was a dream is now becoming reality, and we're awakening to our ability to manifest a dream and to bring something to life. So as the sun enters Aries, pay attention to the area of your chart ruled by Aries, and you can look this up easily on astro.com, or of course you can email me for a more in-depth consultation and I can help you make sense of it all. Aries is the first sign of zodiac. It's a fire sign and it's a cardinal sign, which means it initiates things. So pay attention to what you're initiating today and in the coming days. You're setting the stage and setting the tone for the coming year, astrological new year. Aries being the first sign, it also rules the self, and it's ruled by Mars. And Mars currently is in Aquarius, towards the end of Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign of the collective, but it's also the sign of the individual. This whole year, what we're learning is to really be true to ourselves and to accept ourselves and to embrace our uniqueness and our individuality as much as we celebrate our differences with others in our life. And this requires a delicate balance, which we're now heading to this Libra full moon, teaching us the need for balance between ourselves and us being true to ourselves and the needs of others in our life, and how we balance our lives with relationships. Because none of us is an island, and at best we're interdependent creatures. None of us are totally independent, but we are breaking out of codependent patterns and childhood patterns, especially surrounding relationships and the dynamics we saw played out between parents and caregivers that have formed the model of our relationships today unconsciously, and that have shaped us into who we are. So now we're in the process of becoming aware of our own patterns so we can create our lives more consciously and deepen connections and engage with others and partners and relationships more consciously rather than unconsciously replaying cycles. So as you become aware and make time to self-reflect, consciously release these childhood patterns, trauma, pain, conditioning, then we can return to that sense of innocence and the true self within and reconnect with that inner self and sense of fearlessness, our ability to be ourselves. Aries really is a sign of being rather than doing. Life is happening through us. We've seen this, undeniably in the past couple of months. Now it's a matter of self-awareness so we can channel these forces, this divine force with greater awareness to bring about the change that we seek in our lives and to shape our lives with greater consciousness so it reflects an inner truth of our beings. And coming back to Mars, the ruler of Aries, being in Aquarius at the moment, this really begins with self acceptance, accepting all parts of ourselves and accepting all our desires. Doesn't mean we necessarily have to act on everything we feel, but what we deny comes out in unconscious ways. So there's a need for that self awareness, then we can make conscious choices moving ahead. We can't please everyone all the time. In fact, we can never please everybody. So the best that we can do is be honest with ourselves and be true to ourselves and trust that the connections that are right for you and the people that are right for you will gravitate towards you. And you can deepen those bonds based on mutual respect and honesty, and deepen connections that really see you and appreciate you for who you are, all of you. And likewise, as we become more self-aware, we can allow that space for others to be themselves. So the 19th brings those major shifts, and with the moon in Leo, we are feeling quite passionately, and there's a need for courage and to be bold and spontaneous. On the 20th, there are no major aspects taking place, but emotions are rising, and the moon will square Jupiter, so we're feeling big emotions and we're taking big steps towards our future. And this will again call for courage and faith and inner confidence and wisdom and an ability to trust and have faith in ourselves. Also, there's a need to be vulnerable and to be able to drop the mask and drop the ego. We don't know it all, so humility is needed, but have faith that you know what you need to know for now moving ahead. And as long as you can trust your heart and follow your heart, you will be guided to where you need to go next. And the future looks bright. Follow your most optimistic vision right now, especially when it comes to relationships, because we are moving to the Libra full moon and eclipse, and relationships are very much front and center right now. Leo speaks of the heart and true love. And all the planets in the sky are answering to Venus. So it can be scary to be vulnerable and to wear our hearts on our sleeves. But it is that vulnerability that will ultimately draw in the love that you desire and allow you to share the love that you feel. The ego ultimately, with its fears of rejection or its attachments or needs for validation, ultimately keeps us caged and prevents us from receiving and sharing the love that we feel. So have faith and keep an open heart and dare to follow your heart today. On the 21st, the moon continues to move through Leo, but there's a couple of major aspects taking place. We've got the sun in Aries, sextile Pluto in Aquarius, and just hours later, Venus makes a conjunction to Saturn. Now, these are both really powerful aspects. Chapters are ending and beginning. We're stepping over a threshold. Move slowly as you move through this day on the 21st. With the sun sextile Pluto, there's a need to let go of expectations, to let go of trying to control situations, to let go of trying to hold on to what's changing, to release the past. We're entering a whole new world and a whole new chapter in our lives. We're in the process of shedding skin, becoming and stepping into the fullness of who we are today. It's time to evolve. We're not who we were even a month ago, let alone years ago. This is a chance to release the past and to shed skin and to release any shame, guilt, blame, and to be really proud of yourself and who you are and how far you've come. Life is a journey, and we're going to keep evolving as long as we're alive, or until we've, reached that place of self-realization. Until then, this life is merely a journey that's purifying our consciousness. Trust in what's unfolding, and trust you have what it takes to meet a challenge and to rise to the occasion, whatever the circumstances are calling for in your life. With Venus conjunct Saturn on the same day, there are major developments taking place in relationships, financial situations, creative projects, all matters of the heart. When Saturn speaks of commitments and boundaries and limits, it represents gateways and time itself and our mortality. So we're becoming really aware of what we value most in life and what will matter to us once we're dead and gone. And we're realizing how short and sweet and precious life is and how fleeting these moments are. So, what do we want to really pour our energy and our hearts into? What do we really want to commit our lives to? And the answer, with Venus exalted in Pisces conjunct Saturn, really it's about unconditional love and integrity and time, and knowing that if the love is real, then you need not hold on or cling to anyone. There needs to be space and time for relationships and situations to evolve. So there's that need for maturity with Saturn. We're all learning lessons of love, and that's the thing. We're a strange breed. We learn our lessons through pain easier than we do through love, and that's not necessary. We don't need to struggle with this. There is love here and there is support here. Trust what's unfolding and move through this day with as much awareness as possible, and stay rooted in the pure unconditional love that you feel in your being, and then trust that love can open doors like magic, and doors are opening now. So take the time now to self-reflect. We're having to reflect on our limits and our boundaries and the walls that we're taking down and what we're leaving behind. The doors are opening and closing, and there's just that need for total self-awareness as we step over this threshold and we're entering a whole new chapter. It would help to look back at what was unfolding on the 28th and the 29th of February, because at the time the Sun, Mercury and Saturn met in a triple conjunction in Pisces. And this Venus-Saturn conjunction is a progression of that story. This is an ongoing story. And in the coming days, coming weeks, Mars is going to enter Pisces, and Mars will make a conjunction to Saturn, completing this process. So this is a process of us breathing life to our dreams, shaping our dreams into reality. Our life is changing. The world around us is changing in visible and invisible ways. Stay connected with your heart at this time. Look at what you need to release, any emotional baggage that needs to be let go of, past insecurities, so you can fully step into your future and embrace your future with open arms, because there's a whole new world opening up to us, and relationships are deepening right now. Business partnerships, personal relationships, romantic connections, existing ones as well as new ones. Be very clear about where your limits are. Then trust that you can meet others halfway. As long as there's mutual love and respect, trust that you can find a way forward that works for everyone involved. It starts with being really true to ourselves, with total self-acceptance and a willingness to let go of trying to please others or control outcomes, but to show up fully and authentically. Then trust you can deepen the connections and situations that are right for you. We are now moving to the eclipse, and eclipses are a time when fated events take place and fated developments take place. There's a greater divine play in motion here, and we're merely actors in this play, and we're merely pawns in this play. So the more we can get out of our own way, we can open the door to the happiness and prosperity and support and love that we seek and that is very much present here for us. Be true to yourself, your values, your integrity. Be loving, be respectful. Then trust that you will find a way forward with whatever it is that you face. Something that you've been coming up against a wall, now the door is opening, allowing us to enter this whole new world. That's on the 21st, and immediately after that happens, that's also the last day of Mars's transit through Aquarius, and the moon will be opposing Mars just after the Venus-Saturn conjunction. So the energy does feel very tense, like things could just snap at any moment. There's that need for trust and detachment and courage, and that's why, nothing's going to snap. In fact, if we can get through this gateway with self-awareness, then things get a lot easier after the 21st, where, right now it feels like the stakes are high. The energy starts to settle down and get grounded after the 21st. So on the 22nd, with Mars in its last day in Aquarius, self acceptance. Self acceptance is the way forward, and detachment and fearlessness. And in one sense, effortlessness. There's no need to struggle with anything right now. Just breathe out. We need courage, confidence, and to breathe our way through it. Life does not give us any challenge that we can't handle, and this is our chance to rise to the occasion of our lives. Then on the 22nd, Mars enters Pisces and the moon enters Virgo. With Mars entering Pisces, this is a significant shift in the energy, but it's a progression of events. The Sun entered Pisces on the 19th of February. Then Mercury entered Pisces, Venus entered Pisces, and now Mars is the last to follow in this train of planets. And everything that's been brewing under the surface since the Sun entered Pisces on the 19th of February now is starting to bubble and boil with Mars in the sign. Mars is a fiery, hot planet. Pisces is a water sign. So there's a need, you can't run underwater. You've got to be able to swim with the currents and with the flow. So at best, this transit is imaginative, psychic, musical, mystical, magical, and we're finding ways forward, ways to slip through situations and cracks that otherwise we couldn't have been able to get through with just brute force. So it's a matter of knowing how to use this energy and how to navigate this energy. There's a need for self-awareness though, because so you don't slip up or you don't get too far ahead of yourself. Think of this as a progression of events, and something that's a process that's already been underway now is starting to heat up. And come April, we have a very powerful Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and at the time Mars will be nearing a conjunction to Neptune. The Sun is just past a conjunction to Neptune. So it's like this ball that's been underwater and suppressed underwater suddenly just bloop, pops up above the surface. April is going to be quite an unforgettable month, globally as well as personally for all of us. And I'll have a lot more to say about that in the coming weeks. For now, with Mars in Pisces, at best, this is a chance to heal, to immerse yourself in spiritual practices, in your creative projects. You could certainly dial up the romance in your relationships with Mars and Pisces. With self-awareness, you can make the best of this transit. Just conscious of, again, things could be slippery, so there's a need for patience and to move slowly. Also on the 22nd, now the moon is entering Virgo, and the moon will be moving through Virgo on the 22nd and the 23rd. Trust a process that's underway. We're now heading to the full moon on the 25th in Libra. So emotions are high, and the moon will be making an opposition to Venus and Saturn on the 23rd, in the early hours. Trust a process, move slowly. We're moving over a threshold, especially if things have gotten tense in the past few days. This is a chance to heal, to integrate what's come through, to reorganize life and to restructure our lives based on the developments that are unfolding, and so we can allow in more of the happiness, abundance, prosperity, and love and the new opportunities that are now making their way into our world. So take in the lessons that we're learning as you step over this threshold, because there's a lot of growth that's happening here within us, around us, in our lives, and we're moving to this powerful eclipse which closes out a 6-month cycle that began on the 14th of October. So this is really a chance to reflect on the past 6 months and embody the lessons that you've been learning, because now we're taking the next big step into our future as we enter this eclipse portal on the 25th of March. So move slowly, have a plan, but be willing to be flexible and take into account that there are other people involved in your life, and now there's a need for teamwork. Then you can work through any issues that are arising consciously. And there's a lot of hope here, and there's a lot to be grateful for, and this energy is very fertile and, imaginative and creative and productive even. So we can get a lot done on these days, on the 22nd, 23rd. We're really entering this new chapter. By the 24th, Venus makes a sextile to Jupiter, which is a really heart opening, expansive, healing aspect, showing us just how much love there is, how much support there is in our lives, abundance, opportunity. It's like if once we've passed the Saturn Venus test, now here comes the reward. There's a wealth of prosperity and opportunities and love and support available to us, and there's a wealth of new horizons for us to explore that are beckoning to us. Our relationships are deepening and our hearts are expanding. Be grateful, practice gratitude, be kind, be patient, be loving, be creative, be optimistic, and clarify a vision. Dare to follow your heart and reach for your most optimistic vision. And I say this knowing that, the energy can manifest in all ways. So if you're feeling a sense of loss, or if you're feeling any sadness or grief or heavy or difficult emotions, still this is an opportunity to count your blessings and to have faith and to trust that whatever's unfolding, there is a blessing here for you, even if it's in disguise. And maybe what's needed is a little bit of perspective for you to see things in a different light, which is certainly, if you're not seeing it yet, this eclipse is going to clarify that for us, showing us what's real and valuable and precious and indestructible and really is our destiny. Because this energy is extremely creative, not just in terms of drawing or painting or creating something like that, but in terms of just creating your life. Everything begins with that imagination. We're moving to the Libra full moon and this aspect of course takes place on the 24th. So the 25th brings the Libra full moon and the eclipse, and I'll have a lot more to say about that next week. But the eclipse on the 25th takes place at 2:01 a.m., so just after midnight on the 24th. During an eclipse, it's advised to just stay home, meditate, avoid eating or drinking anything if you can for the duration of an eclipse. It's a chance to really go inward. So deepen your spiritual practices at this time. It will be late at night here in New York, but if you're awake, you might be sleeping. But if you're awake, it's an excellent time to meditate. But once the eclipse aligns on the 25th, late night on the 24th, then on the 25th, post-eclipse, we'll be officially in the eclipse portal from the 25th of March to the 8th of April. And eclipses are a time when, the sun and moon are in proximity to the moon's nodes, which is what casts shadow on the surface of the sun or the moon. And eclipses occur in pairs at the time of a full moon and at the time of a new moon, generally about 2 weeks apart, and then they'll occur every 6 months at a time. So at the time of eclipses, we're setting patterns for at least 6 months at a time. The last set of eclipses took place on the 14th of October and the 28th of October. So you may want to look back at what was going on between that time in the second half of October, because those 2 weeks were setting the pattern for the past 6 months. And now we're entering this new stage of evolution and on our journey, life's journey. And on the highest level, this is our journey of self-realization, because the North Node is in Aries right now, which is the sign of the self, and the Sun is in Aries right now, and the Moon will be in Libra. So this eclipse is all about our relationships. We're reaching a crossroads, and there will be important life-changing choices that are arising now on the 24th as we lead up to the eclipse. And then certainly, once we enter the eclipse window. Once the eclipse aligns on the 25th, move slowly over the 25th, 26th, and because there are important revelations coming through. We're seeing situations in a new light. We're seeing our relationships in a new light. Our relationships are essentially a mirror, so we're seeing ourselves in the light of our relationships. And there's a need to be really honest with ourselves about what we want, what we're creating, what we're letting go of, the patterns we're releasing, and how we're showing up in our connections. Rather than waiting for somebody else to change, this is about looking at what we're putting into a situation and what we are bringing to a table. Because we can't change anyone else. Ultimately, we can only change ourselves, if that. It's so hard to even change ourselves. So, if you want to change a dynamic now, the key really is to shift something internally. This full moon is also, well, the sun will be closely conjunct Chiron, and Chiron's symbol is the key. So the key really now is awareness, and that awareness is the key to our healing ourselves, healing our connections and our world, wherever you have the Aries Libra axis. Libra rules relationships, it rules honesty, it rules fairness, matters of justice, even legal matters and contracts, marriage. So these are some of the themes that are being highlighted. And there's a need for us to be really honest, starting with ourselves about how we feel, what we want, and then we can find a balance with others in our life. We can't find harmony in our relationships until we find that harmony within in ourselves. Above all, the Libra full moon is a chance to deepen your primary relationship with yourself. All other relationships stem from that relationship. So if you can find a sense of balance and harmony within, then you can trust, you can find that with others and find a way to meet others in your life halfway and make choices that work for yourself and all that you care about. It's a big week, as you can see. There's a lot that's shifting this week. We had a relatively quiet week last week, but this week the planets are on the move now. As the sun, just a quick recap, as we make our way through these last days of Pisces season, consciously release the past as you clarify a vision and a dream that you're birthing. This is a chance for renewal. Once the sun enters Aries, life is going to pick up speed on the 19th of March. There are fated developments taking place. We are being drawn to our destiny. It's just a matter of us now moving in self-awareness so we aren't self-sabotaging. You can't avoid your destiny, you can delay it. And there's nothing really to fear here. Aries is a sign which at best is fearless, like a child, and has a sense of innocence and curiosity and does not know the meaning of no. This is the sign of the warrior. If there's something that needs to be done, Aries will find a way. Aries energy will find a way to do it. But now there's just that need of self-awareness, so we're not, because relationships require fine balance, gentle touch and a gentle approach. What's needed now really is being present and being authentic and showing up authentically in our connections. Trust a greater plan that's in motion. Trust in the universe and divine will, and allow it to guide you and move you to where you need to be. And then, of course, we've got the Venus-Saturn conjunction, which is formative, and that takes place, I think, on the 21st. That's right, 21st. So we're moving over relationships and financial situations and creative projects. We're moving over a threshold. We're deepening commitments, as well as doors are opening. Doors that were shut that are opening, and we're closing a door on the past. And it's important we do that so we can fully embrace and step into our future. We're embodying the lessons that we've been learning now, certainly over the past month and a half. And then Mars will enter Pisces, which is another shift in energy, and things are starting to heat up, and the dreams that we've been dreaming now are coming to life. And this could feel scary. A fantasy is all well and good, but when things start to become real, it could be easy to have cold feet or get scared, but trust is needed now. And you don't have to dive in headlong into something if you're not sure of something. Test the waters, dip your toes, see how it feels. Then you can decide how deep you want to go. And to be very honest, we're already quite deep. I mentioned earlier, the baby's on its way. It's now a matter of trusting and putting one step in front of the other and trusting our own ability to move forward towards our destiny, and that the universe wants only the best for us. So if we can surrender to that higher will without being attached to outcomes or trying to force our will onto situations, then we can trust that the outcome will only be for our highest and greatest good and for the good of everyone and everything involved. We move to the eclipses by the 25th, which I'll have more to say about next week. That's a time when fate comes into play and we're reaching a major crossroads. So just be honest with yourself as you move through the week. Move in self-awareness, then trust you can find clarity where you need it and find a balance with others in your life and a way to work together to get the support that you need as you journey forth and manifest a dream together. There is support. It's just a matter of us being able to reach out and ask for help where we need it, as well as willing to lend a hand and offer help where we can. With that, I will stop here for now. I hope I have covered most of everything. I'm sure I have a lot more to say, but if you want a more in-depth reading, I would highly recommend a personal chart reading. So do feel free to write to me if you're interested. My email is priya@cosmicdiaries.com. I will be back with you again with another podcast next week. And of course, I appreciate all your support, and I am very grateful for you being here and listening. Sending you all my love. Till next time, namaste.